Hello, everyone. My name is Ana Martha Ayala, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. As a reminder, I do every video in English and Spanish, and the degree theory is based on modern Western astrology using the Placidus house system. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you about the astrological aspects for March of 2026. So, in case you didn't hear, about, I think, 3 or 4 days after the eclipse in Aquarius, there was another assassination attempt on President Trump in Mar-a-Lago here in Florida. But the president and his wife weren't there. They were at the White House. However, the young man that attempted the assassination was shot and killed, I think, by the FBI. So, that's unfortunate, but, things happen, right? The other situation that we have is with Iran. And in the previous video that I did mention that I do think that the United States will go ahead and launch an attack on Iran close to March 2nd, or maybe 3rd, because we have a full moon eclipse in Virgo. So I'm thinking that maybe that period of time is when it's going to happen. Obviously, I hope it doesn't. I hope that, it just, we move on, right? We have otherwise, on a personal note, hopefully March will be a bit of a breather since there are mostly good aspects, except for one at the end of March, which is March 25th, where the sun will conjunct Saturn. Remember, Saturn is in Aries, right? Um, but I don't think that for the month of March, we're going to have any more difficult situations come up that I have just already mentioned, hopefully. However, April will be a different story because we have a lot of energy in Aries. We're going to have, a stellium of planets in Aries. So we'll see, but, we'll discuss it when April comes around. So let's start with March 2nd. Mars will enter Pisces until April 9th. So, Mars in Pisces doesn't feel all that great. So make sure that you don't procrastinate on things that you need to do. On March 3rd, there is a full moon, a lunar eclipse in Virgo at 12 degrees, 51 minutes. Obviously, I will be doing a separate video on that, but for the most part, um, Jupiter is in Cancer and it will be trining this eclipse, the full moon in Virgo. Mercury is also in Pisces, so communication, will flow. Think back to the eclipse in September because whatever themes came up, um, they'll hopefully conclude now with this lunar eclipse. Because remember that lunar eclipses conclude things, solar eclipses. A solar eclipse is a new moon solar eclipse. They start things or the windows open up for opportunities. Now, March 5th, the sun in Pisces trines Jupiter retrograde in Cancer at 15 degrees. So this is a very lucky day, of course, depending where, in your natal chart this eclipse falls. If you have planets plus or minus 15 degrees in Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, Capricorn, Virgo, so and Taurus, right? The water and the earth signs will have, a very lucky day. And of course, this is a great day to, depending on where it falls in your chart, you can ask for a raise, apply for a job, have an interview on this day, you know? That's the kind of energy that you can have, right? On March 5th. March 6th, Venus enters Aries. So obviously this benefits the fire signs the most and the air signs secondly. Fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So especially for Aries, you will look more attractive. So if you're single and looking, dress up, put on that perfume, that cologne, that makeup, that new hairstyle, that new suit if that you bought to go to the office. If you guys use suits anymore, I don't know. Anyway, March 7th, Sun will conjunct Mercury retrograde at 17 degrees of Pisces. So it's a great day for lover business conversations. Um, and it's a Saturday. So it's a great opportunity to, just chit chat with your friends, go out and since it's in Pisces, something by the water, movies are good, also a theme. Eh, it's too cold, even here in Florida, to go to the beach. So hopefully by then it'll start warming up. Venus on March 7th will also conjunct Neptune at 1 degrees in Aries. So it's a super nice day to ask someone out on a first date, or even if you're married, right? Make it a date night. Weekend getaway to some place. Pisces is always magical, right? With music, flowers, kind of like a fairy tale atmosphere. Your sweetheart or your spouse is gonna be very happy. Um, and of course, because it happens in Aries, either love or business is going to be very direct, right? Like very to the point. On March 8th, we have Venus conjunct Saturn in Aries at 3 degrees. In love and business, you're looking for something long term. Um, in the relationship department, right? Venus, love, money. But with Saturn, it's usually, hey, you want to know where this is going, right? You want to see if this, either in love and business, it's a committed relationship or not. Like the Saturn stuff, right? Um, it's funny because the day before it was very playful, romantic, but now you want to see where uh, you want to define where you go from here with that person that you went out with or had a business conversation with, right? Um, Now, on March 8th, we also have Mercury retrograde trining Jupiter in Cancer at 15 degrees. So it's an amazing day to write a love letter or an email or a text message and pour your heart out to the person of, to your person of interest, right? Travel can be nice as well. Just make sure you have written directions in case the GPS isn't working. Over here, I mean, the GPS has been horrible for the past 2, 3 weeks. I don't know what is going on. March 10th, Jupiter goes direct in Cancer at 15 degrees. It's been retrograde since November 11th. And the retrograde started at 25 degrees of Cancer. So for those of you that have planets in the cardinal signs, Aries, obviously Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Um, Jupiter, and this is plus or minus 3 degrees. So Jupiter will expand whatever it touches. Even though it could be a square or an opposition, it's not bad because it's Jupiter. It's the great benefic. So we're talking about 12 to 18 degrees. If you have planets in those signs, then see what opportunity comes around. And remember that Jupiter will station at 15 degrees. So, it's going to be a little bit of a window, right? It's not going to happen exactly on March 10th, but it will, I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks when Jupiter stations. On March 15th, we have Mercury retrograde in conjunction to Mars in Pisces at 10 degrees. So Careful with the words that you come out of your mouth because Mars can be very assertive, very blunt. And Mercury in Pisces leads to miscommunication, right? Because that Neptune energy kind of like doesn't it doesn't make the conversation clear. So the one thing you can do is use your intuition because that brings on it'll be very strong, especially this day. On March 18th, the new moon is in Pisces at 28 degrees. So Jupiter in Cancer, which is now direct, Mars in Pisces, so you can take positive steps to bring in some money because Neptune is in tune with Saturn. They're talking. So use Saturn. Hard work, discipline, organize yourself. You know, you have to put in the work. If not, Saturn doesn't give you anything. Venus in Aries will square Jupiter in Cancer at 15 degrees. So careful with spending too much money or eating too much as well. Remember, Venus rules love and money, but it's also the food that we eat, especially sweets. Careful with the sweets. On March 20th, the sun enters Aries. So spring begins, or the vernal equinox, depending on where in the world you are. So happy birthday to all of the Aries out there. I wish you lots of health, happiness, love, money, an awesome solar return. Um, so make the best of it, right? Also, March 20th, Mercury goes direct in Pisces at 8 degrees. Again, remember March 20th is when Mercury stations at Pisces 8 degrees, so you shouldn't be starting or ending a trip on this day. March 21st, Mars in Pisces is trining Jupiter in Cancer. So here we have all systems are go. Awesome day to start something new now that Mercury is direct. A relationship, something important that you want to do is a good day. March 22nd, Sun is conjunct Neptune in Aries at 2 degrees. This is a very creative aspect. So since it's a Sunday, use it to maybe film something um, for photography, write a romance novel, a daydream, painting, dancing is also good. Pisces rules dancing, especially ballet. On March 25th, this is a difficult aspect. The sun is conjunct Saturn at 5 degrees. So sometimes this can feel like you want to get something done, but nothing is moving forward the way you need it, the way you want it. You know, it's kind of like it's not like Mars and Saturn, which is a push-pull, but Saturn kind of makes it a little difficult for the sun to move ahead. So, however, there is a sextile from the sun to Pluto. So this will give you the drive. This will give you, to move forward, to achieve your goals. You're not giving up basically because, Pluto is like the obsession to just get things done. And then we end the month with on March 30th with Venus entering Taurus. So these are this Venus in Taurus is great for the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And then it also makes a sextile to the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So Venus in Taurus, if you're single, dress to impress, use the cologne, the perfume, the makeup, anything that rules the senses, right? Because Taurus is all about the five senses. So look your best. You never know. Especially if Taurus is your fifth house and you're not dating anybody, romance can come up. So anyway, this is basically what March is going to look like. I hope that this has been useful for you. If it has, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and send it to somebody else that it may help. As always, if you would like a chart reading with me, please send me an email to amaastrology@aol.com, and I will see you in the next video.